Hey, how you doing? Welcome. Glad you could join me. Thanks again for your support of my little novella, Hokey Pokey. The novella that could about a little gang of tweakers who run a dildo store in the buckle of the Bible Belt. Get your copy today. The link's available in the description. I just wanted to touch in and just kind of do an update. I haven't done any. My plan was to do more narration, as I'd read a little bit of a chapter, but as it started moving along, first I thought, well, that's really not, I don't know how much value that is to somebody who would just like to hear a book. If someone wants to play the files all in a row, it'd probably be better to do them a chapter at a time. But to be honest, it's a pain in the ass to, I don't know, to read that much out loud and try to do it flawlessly, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job. Um, I'm more comfortable. I'm slowing down a little bit. So I think chapter 4 on should be higher quality. On that note, apologies for any glitches in sound or lag with sound and video. Figuring this out as I go. So, um, yeah. Thank you for watching anyway. Um, so on that note, yeah, we're at chapter 4 in Hokey Pokey, and are preparing to move the van loads of dildos through town and out into the country to get them loaded at the store, and trying to do so without, raising too many eyebrows or gathering too much attention, which is of course impossible in a town like fictional Cokeville, Tennessee, where everyone's peeping from their curtains most of the time. Um, okay, so on that note, I finished another. I finished a novel. Finished two novels this spring and summer, but the novel I finished in the spring was more of a philosophical piece. It definitely was. It took me more in the order of years to write it, and I'd had the idea for 20 years. I actually found the little seminal sheet that had the original notes on it from a little over 20 years ago. And that really blew my mind. At any rate, I finally got that written. Um, and I'll do another post about that later, so I don't want to go into it, or I won't shut up. But it's essentially it's a comic tragedy in 18 holes about an undocumented migrant who gets killed in the act of covering up an environmental atrocity that happens, no fault of his, on a retirement retirement community golf course west of Phoenix. It's called Rules of Play. Um, anyway, it's comic tragedy, but it's also deeply philosophical, and there's a lot of input. So when I got to the end of that and started collecting rejections on it immediately, um, I needed to cleanse my own palate, and so I got busy working on. Well, I just really didn't get busy working on anything. I sat down just kind of with a head full of steam and said, I'd like to write something that would just piss everybody off, because I'm just so sick of everyone else's feelings encroaching on my ability to make art, and that's been the case since 1989. And I'll do a post where I detail that so that I can really, summon all the right poison and aim it at the right places, and it's gonna hurt. But so in the meantime, I was just bummed and kind of pissed, and needed something to write to exorcise the demons, and so I'd always wanted to write a detective novel. But I didn't know the first thing about it. I knew you could do it formulaically, and I knew that also about smut. And actually, on a lark, I had attempted to write some of that, just really couldn't pull it off. And again, maybe that's information for another post too. But so what I came up with was this anti detective story that essentially maps. It's a nested iterations of Jack and the Beanstalk, um, from the POV of this ne'er do well sort of you know hipster type in Tempe, Arizona in the mid '90s. And so I wanted to share a little bit of that with you. It's done, and I'm submitting it already, and already collecting some rejections on it too. It's just the road. Um, but I figured while I'm submitting it, I might as well throw a little bit out there, see what people think. Who knows? I think it's an absolute riot. So I'll share chapter one with you really quick. It's fast. It's a really short chapter. I just want to grab you. The title is Stinky Girls Don't Get a Chicken Foot. Chapter 1, A Penis Story. I must have changed into a bathing suit at some point before I passed out that previous evening. And I must have crawled my way out to the pool deck somehow without getting arrested or even leaving a blood trail. I knew the latter assumption was true because I woke up sprawled across a lawn chair under a palm tree with the familiar murmur of a pool pump churning close by. I knew the former assumption was true because what woke me up was a child's voice repeating the words, "Hey, mister, what happened to your penis? Hey, mister, what happened to your penis?" He stood no more than 3 feet tall and had curly blonde hair that made an iridescent halo across the top of his brow in sunlight. The sun was behind him, so I couldn't see his face very well, and as I squinted and shaded my eyes to see him better, his guardian seized him by the shoulders and jerked him away across the pool deck, scowling at me over her shoulder. I assumed the woman was his mother. I lay there trying to get a fix on her from the wrong end of a kaleidoscope of pain. She wore a one-piece polka dot bathing suit and a matching hair bow under a permanent wave and a pair of those big '70s Elton John style shades. She was too well put together not to be a little dangerous. At the very last second, walking away, she spun back around, jutted her chin out at me, and hissed, "You should be ashamed of yourself, sir." It's admittedly something of a character flaw that I don't shame easily. I should have been ashamed, of course. I knew that was true just as soon as I gathered the courage to look down at my lap, where a bloated purple and black plantain, the same one I had glued to my thigh with testicular blood and pus for safekeeping the night before, somehow worked its way free of my bathing suit's webbing and now lay sunning itself magnificently, glistening a little where the fluids had congealed underneath it. When I tried sitting up, a bright arc of pain shot from my asshole all the way to the top of my skull. "Hey, mister, what happened to your penis?" I was closing in on 30, and I had justified a long career of aimless inertia with the assertion that I was stuck in a kind of geokarmic finger trap, formed by the Salt River Arroyo and the lifestyle I had committed in its vicinity for so many years. In truth, I was stuck at Las Casitas, even when I wasn't. Las Casitas was the finger trap. It's where the story begins, and it's where my story began altogether. It was late in the summer of '94. Or was it '95? No matter. It was monsoon season, and I had just managed to finalize the details of a brutal divorce from my darling wife of 6 weeks, give or take, all with the immediate legal and logistical assistance of her new image management team. I married a girl who took her clothes off in public for a living. That's the long story short. And it's a story that couldn't have ended honestly without somebody getting his balls kicked to a saucy paste, which is where I came in. When I asked Rocco and Tits to look at my crotch later on to see if it looked like oatmeal, Rocco said, "Yeah, it sure does, man. I mean, if you like your oatmeal a little bloody." Rocco and Tits were the management team who ran operations at Las Casitas. They were a married couple of low-level Midwestern mob transplants who lived in the valley long enough to remember cigarette machines in the restaurant foyers. They got assimilated to the Tempe hippie culture over the years and were considered natives by everybody except La Raza. They knew me from way back, and they trusted me like family. I paid them rent on and off for 15 years, give or take, and I worked from time to time doing side jobs too. You could say they were like my adopted parents, and I was like their son, but also like their indentured servant. Compared to my real parents, Rocco and Tits were Ward and June Cleaver. Las Casitas looked like it had once been a no-tell motel, the kind where you could buy hard drugs and rent rooms by the hour. It had 2 floors of apartments connected by a long patio, at the end of which lay an alcove containing a big white ice machine that said "ice" on the side in stenciled red letters, a soda machine with the selections all punched out, and a sadistic trapdoor candy machine full of 20-year-old Lance sandwich crackers and peanut brittle. There was a pool in the central garden courtyard and a cinder block laundry room with a payphone. It was home. In those days, few apartment complexes along that stretch of University Drive comprised a distributed orphanage that was home to art students, chronic drunks, itinerant gamblers, titty dancers, occasional tourists, professional tweakers, and all the other starry-eyed East Coast schmucks who got caught like mosquitoes in the big savage human bug zapper of the South Central deserts. They flocked west to get famous in Hollywood. They never even made it past Tempe. You could see the embers of those Hollywood dreams still smoldering behind their lidded eyes, too. And you could feel the residual momentum still nudging them westward long after they traded westward for dancing in place around a chrome pole on a sticky, mauve-lit side stage of some strip mall titty bar in sunny South Scottsdale. In the Valley of the Spun, it's never so much the heat as it is the stupidity. There were moments in my life when I was absolutely certain that I'd be hurt bad, even maimed, or maybe even killed or have my balls cut off, and that I might even have to watch it happening. During those moments, I always pictured Las Casitas, like a sequence of 3D images seen fast through the viewfinder. I knew if I could just make it back there, I would be all right. It was as if Las Casitas were an understood, supernaturally protected base in the life and death game of hide and seek we all play. If you could just make it back to the pool deck at Las Casitas, nobody could tag you in, and you didn't have to fall down dead. And if you found a gorgeous, blissed out hippie chick floating at the bottom of the morning, you got to keep her, so long as you knew the magic words. That's chapter 1. I'm going to drip some more later, I think, as I move along, just for marketing's sake. Hope you liked it. If you did, let me know in the comments. Again, Hokey Pokey, available for order. This, if I can't get any action on this by the fall, I'm probably going to just publish it textually myself on Amazon and charge $1 or something. It's a riot. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope you all had a good time. I know I did. See you soon.